Story Time, where I sew and tell you a story. I'm your host, Nick Allen. Let's dive right into it. It was a dark and stormy night, and Maria sat huddled in her small apartment, lost in thought. She had always been fascinated by the concept of time travel, and ever since she was a little girl, she had read countless books and watched every movie about it. But she never imagined that one day she would actually be able to travel through time herself. Maria had always been a curious person, and her love for science and technology led her to become a successful physicist. She had spent years studying theories and experimenting, but she was never able to crack the code for time travel. However, everything changed when she received a mysterious package in the mail. Inside the package was a small device, unlike anything she had ever seen before. It was a sleek silver box with a small screen and a few buttons. There was a note attached that simply read, "Use this wisely." At first, Maria was skeptical. She thought it might be some kind of prank or a dangerous experiment. But her curiosity got the best of her, and she decided to test it out. She set the date and the time to a few minutes in the past, pressed the button, and closed her eyes. When she opened them, she was no longer in her apartment. Instead, she found herself standing in the middle of a bustling street in New York City. She couldn't believe it. She had actually traveled through time. Maria couldn't resist exploring this new world she had stumbled upon. She wandered the streets, amazed by the sights and sounds of the past. She saw horse-drawn carriages, women in long skirts, and men in top hats. It was like stepping into a history book. As she continued to explore, Maria came across a young man who was being robbed at gunpoint. Without hesitation, she used her knowledge of the future to stop the robbery and save the man's life. He was eternally grateful and introduced himself as Thomas. As they walked and talked, Maria learned that Thomas was a brilliant inventor who was working on a time machine of his own. He had been struggling to make it work, and Maria couldn't resist helping him. Together, they fine-tuned the machine and successfully traveled to different eras. Maria and Thomas quickly became close friends and partners in their time-traveling adventures. They explored different time periods, from ancient civilizations to the future. They witnessed historical events and met famous figures, always making sure not to interfere with the course of history. But as much as Maria loved traveling through time, she couldn't shake off the feeling of guilt. She knew that her actions could have severe consequences, and she was afraid that she might change the course of history without even realizing it. One day, while they were in the future, Maria and Thomas stumbled upon a shocking discovery. They found out that the mysterious package that had brought Maria the time-traveling device was sent by none other than her future self. She had sent it back in time to prevent a catastrophic event that would change the world forever. Maria was torn. She had been enjoying her adventures with Thomas, but she knew that she had to do the right thing. She bid farewell to Thomas and traveled back to her own time, determined to stop the event from happening. With her newfound knowledge, Maria was able to prevent the catastrophic event from occurring. She returned the device to her future self, who thanked her and explained the importance of not interfering with the timeline. Maria realized that time travel was a powerful tool that should not be taken lightly. She also learned that one should always be careful not to change the course of history and to use this gift wisely. From that day on, Maria continued her work as a physicist, but with a newfound appreciation for the power of time. She never forgot her adventures with Thomas, and she often wondered if they would ever meet again in another time. She was grateful for the experience and knew that she would never take the present for granted again.